right, y'all. This is episode
4 of The Grow Show.
The Grow Show with Dr. Glenn
And Lady Keisha.
and this episode, I already feel, Glenn, that it's gonna be packed. We'll see where we are with time, but this episode now dives into the Evolve framework, and that's the first step, which is excellence. And there's so many angles that we could have gone with this, right? And I think what we came up with was the whole concept around the fact that excellence is not perfection.
Wow.
And we're going to talk about the difference.
Yes.
What would you say from just that angle? Because people like to compare the two or confuse the two, excellence and perfection. It is not perfection, and we're going to dive into the difference. Before we do, what's your thoughts about that so far?
A lot of times when people hear the word excellence, it puts it at such a standard that we think you have to be perfect. And so if I said, I need this document to be done excellent, we automatically meaning it has to be perfect, flawless.
Yeah. And the question that we want to just start off with is, are you chasing excellence or are you in the perfection trap? Excellence is the standard. Perfectionism is a trap.
Yeah.
And a lot of us use the term excellence to put us in a cage of being perfect, and then we are losing out.
Yes.
So I can't wait to dive into this.
Yeah. Because we're never going to be in a state of perfection. Everything is perfect, because in a perfect world, that's how it would be. We're not living in a perfect world.
Yeah.
And so with excellence is the journey to being evolved, to becoming better, and to be in a better state.
Yeah. And so ideally, I want us to break down the difference between an excellent mindset and a perfectionism mindset.
And I like how you say mindset, because it's all about mindset.
Yeah. So let's dive in. Now, it's so interesting. My word of the year, I think I said it in episode 1, is excellence. And I chose the word of the year, excellence, because even as a professional who people observe and already see a certain level of excellence, I always felt as if there was more that I can give, more that I can do. I always felt as if I was still operating at a lower level, ironically. And I think a lot of professionals and people can relate to that. And so even with this term excellence, it resonates with me, because I find myself also saying to myself with projects, even this season, okay, being excellent is one thing, and that could automatically cause me to feel as if it's not perfect, it shouldn't be done.
So in essence, you're preaching to the choir, because you're one of those persons who it has to be perfect, or if it ain't perfect, you didn't feel like you did a good job.
Yeah, and that's only because now I've identified the word excellence as my word of the year. Ordinarily, I would follow the term done is better than perfect. Right? And that served me. That served me for years. Get it done. It does not have to be perfect. And then I'm realizing that, okay, I'm still doing it halfway, because done is better than perfect. Just get it out there. But now this year it's like, okay, I really want to do it fully.
Yeah.
And that's your definition.
Yeah.
So
no, for me, I would always say this to you, when I think of something being excellent, I am looking at the effort, the energy, the time I put into it. And so if I gave it my best shot, that's excellence to me. So the finished product may not be the perfect finished product, but I know I gave it my best shot. I gave it my all. And so that's my level of excellence.
Yeah, and that's a big difference from perfection.
Yeah.
So let's go into it. So the excellent mindset versus the perfectionism mindset. We're going to go side by side. Number 1, the excellent mindset strives for progress and impact, while the perfectionism mindset strives for flawlessness and control. We think excellence is flawlessness.
Yes.
And it's really not. It's excellence is progress. It's impact. It's like going back to what you're saying. It's, am I doing things, and am I growing? Am I evolving? Am I operating from that sense versus?
Am I seeing growth? Am I seeing improvement? Am I still the same person, or am I still doing it the same way? Am I still handling situation in the same way I would have done last year?
Number 2. Excellence is taking action and improving over time. Procrastinism is you procrastinate or delay until it's perfect.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
Yeah. If it ain't perfect, we ain't moving.
We ain't doing it.
Similar to what you talked about in episode 3.
In the last episode,
when you said
right.
the person did not want to go ahead with the
Yeah.
marketing efforts because it wasn't.
It was imperfect.
Perfect, yeah.
So she was choosing to not be visible.
Yeah.
And I'm a business coach. Visibility is currency.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're saying to me that you're not being visible because it's not perfect. And you're going to do that for how many days? How long? And these clients are literally looking for you right now. And then someone else I was talking to literally after that same day, I was saying to her, and she was asking me what I do and all of that stuff. And I was saying, I'm a business coach, I'm a corporate trainer. And she's like, and I asked her, like, what do you need help with, right, in her business? And she was like, well, a lot of people don't know about me as much because she doesn't like social media. And in the conversation, it was not that she didn't like social media. It was that she was trying to do things perfectly. And if it wasn't done perfectly on social media based on the work that she did, she wasn't doing it at all.
Yeah. So she
And I'm
didn't
like,
want
that's
social
the
media to
problem.
see her as not being
Imperfect.
perfect, as having flaws.
And I said to her, like, what is that costing you?
Yeah.
That's costing you visibility. That's costing you clients. That's costing you money in your pocket. That's costing you the lifestyle that you want. That's costing you the ability to not have the impact that you want to have. And so, really and truly, stop trying to be perfect under the guise of excellence. Because it's not the same.
And it could also translate to relationships. I can bring relationships
Yes,
in
you
there.
can.
So you're in this relationship and everything is not going as planned. There's conflict, there's difficulty, and you're ready to give up on the relationship because it ain't perfect. We done in this a year. It takes time for people to grow together, to mesh together, to blend together, to get to the level of excellence.
Yeah.
Or you don't even want to start a relationship because you already come with your list of perfect things. If I had to wait on the list of things that I had on my list to happen, we probably wouldn't have been together. Because the first imperfection that you had was that you didn't cook.
I didn't cook. Couldn't cook. I didn't
Didn't
want
want to cook. Right? And to me, like, that was not the biggest thing. There was so much more to you than just the ability to go in the kitchen and cook peas and rice and chicken and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, after 10 years of growing into this relationship, you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're multitasking, you're at work, you're catering to your daughter, you're doing so many different things while cooking and doing what it is that you need to do. But when we first met, you were just about business. Then business and the relationship, it was not about even cooking. So sometimes the point I'm trying to make is, we are looking for these perfections and these characteristics in people, and we causing it to prevent us from either getting into a relationship or keeping and sustaining a relationship. When you could grow to a level of excellence. I think we have been growing and still have room to grow. But from where we started to where we are now, big difference.
I love that. And I even think, we talked about it from the business standpoint, the relationships, even careers. There are people, and I always reference women because most of the work that I do is with women, but I think it resonates with anyone who are sitting in meetings and not speaking up because their idea is not perfect. Or the way that they want to bring their insight across is not perfect. So what they do, they sit down, you don't say anything, and then you wonder why people are passing you over for opportunities because you're not showing up. And you're not showing up because you feel as if in order for me to do that, it has to be perfect. You are losing. That is not an excellent mindset. Excellent mindset is put it out there and evolve, progress over time. So that's only number 2.
Wow.
Number three, excellent mindset learns from mistakes and adapts.
Wow. That's
the
powerful.
perfection mindset fears failure and avoid risks.
So you're looking at it, you're like, if you make a mistake, you would have just failed. Just grab this whole thing and put it in the bag and just throw it away.
Yeah.
Where excellence is saying, no, what did I learn from this? And we do that a lot. Like,
Yeah.
what did we learn from the last argument? What did we learn from this trip? What did we learn from this training session? And so
And you
it
adapt
keeps
the
you-
next time,
Yes, you make the
right?
adjustment.
We have this mindset in the work that I do and the people that I serve with. People are really afraid of what this word is, failure, right? They're really afraid to fail. And they're afraid to fail because, again, they are making that mean something. If they fail,
How would
then
other people see me?
which is the classic,
How do I see myself?
Yeah, and failure is feedback,
Yeah,
which ties to the excellence. You want to be able to fail
yeah,
forward so that you can get the feedback, so that you can continue to adapt, so that now you have that level of excellence. It's not perfect. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to just make sure that you are getting yourself out there so that you can constantly grow. One thing else that I would say there is, when it comes to perfectionism also, we tend to compare ourselves to others.
Whoa, that's a big one.
Because it's not perfect, because my version of perfect is that colleague over there, or
Yes.
that business owner over there, or that
that
relationship over there. And so if it's not compared to that, then it's not perfect.
Yeah.
That's not true.
And we have this thing about relationship goals. Your relationship goals, and we get that a lot. And I don't want to seem like I'm going to say this, and please don't get offended. I don't want to be viewed as relationship goals.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you and I fail at something, then you're going to say, the person who look at me as relationship goal is going to now either in a state where they feel like they fail or don't want to get in a relationship because
there's a high
relationship
standard.
goals should be what we come together and decide what we want our relationship to look like and what we want our future to look like.
Yeah.
That's relationship goals.
And your relationship goals is something completely different
Yeah.
from another person's
Yes.
relationship goals. And do not compare your relationship, your business, your career to someone else and allowing that to be the standard of perfect.
Yeah. Because
There's no perfect.
you can look and learn.
Yeah,
You can
and be
observe
inspired.
and learn and be inspired, but don't let that be the thing that you anchor on to.
Don't put us on a pedestal.
Because
Don't put
again,
anyone on a pedestal.
because no one and nothing is perfect, and we are moving towards excellence. It's a journey. So remember, I talk about some days you may have to take a small step, a big step, and some days you may have to stand still. You may catch us when we standing still and thinking, their relationship wasn't all of that. No, it is all of that. But now we're just in a place of standstill, and then we need to just move forward.
And then there's always levels.
Yeah.
There's always levels, and that's why this season is so valuable and so important, because what is evolved to us right now, or what is evolved to you right now, a year from now, 5 years from now, it's a different definition of what evolved to look like. So don't feel as if what is perfect to you right now is something you should strive for. It's not going to be, it's not, and that's what excellence is. You evolve, and so there's always going to be times when it's not polished. Or it's not as perfect as it could be, because that's not what excellence is. Excellence is we're learning from mistakes and adapting.
Mindset
and progress.
Yes.
Number 4, excellence focused on serving and delivering value. Perfectionism focused on self-image and avoiding criticism. This is a big one, I think.
It's a big one.
And what immediately came to mind as a speaker and a trainer, because people would come to me and say, what advice you would give to me if as a trainer, if I want to train, or what advice would you give to me as a speaker? And my advice my first advice usually is focus on the audience. Focus on the value that you're giving. That's excellence. Perfectionism is why people are nervous or afraid to speak a lot of times, or afraid to train, is they're focusing on themselves. They want to avoid criticism. The criticism is, oh wow, I don't want people to think how I look a certain way or how I sound a certain way. That's not what you focus on as a speaker and a trainer. For me, in my mind, when I go on a stage, or when I go in front of a classroom or any audience, I want to focus on the value and the impact.
That's
If
it.
I focus on whether people are wondering how I sound, or whether I sound a certain way, or whether I look a certain way,
Yeah.
the focus is on me.
Yeah.
And that's where the anxiety and the fear
Yes.
and the perfectionism and the
Yes.
fear of criticism comes in.
And it could work against you because sometimes you make a mistake in your presentation. Your audience don't even know because they didn't know what you prepared.
Exactly.
But because you're so caught up in yourself and being perfect and making it about you,
Yeah.
you could throw your whole presentation off because you make a mistake. That time the audience ain't know what
Nothing. They
mistake
know
that was
nothing.
you made because they weren't there when you were preparing.
Yeah. So put the focus on delivering value and not about self-image.
Yeah. Then before you go on, you said something about criticism, and I want to bring this point out because it relates to us. I remember when we first started training together, and after the training session, we would debrief and you would give feedback, and I used to be highly offended. Like, you do it your way, and let me do it my way. You were trying to give me feedback so we could be more in sync together and we could blend together and we could let our two different styles come together for the level of excellence that we could give.
Yeah.
And I used to be highly offended. I used to be
mad
like,
at me.
oh, I did all this work for you and with you, and all you could find is to find criticism. But you weren't trying to criticize me, you were trying to give me feedback, but I took it as criticism. I come out the training, I just wanted to celebrate that it's over, and you was more or less finding fault, but you were not finding fault. You was giving feedback, so when we do it the next time, we could be better.
Yeah.
And so now it's different. When we come out of a session, say,
Yeah.
when we come out of a session and we debrief, it's so much more constructive because I'm receptive to the criticism or the feedback.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
You've grown.
That's me. I just out myself and made a confession.
Oh yeah, I remember us arguing one
we
time
in the
about
car,
that.
and we just finished doing big dynamic presentation, and in the car rowing, like dead hot, because you trying to tell me what to do. Now you do it your way, let me do it my way, or do it by yourself. Seeing that you know
Yeah.
everything and want it done this way, why don't you just do the presentation by yourself and leave me alone?
Yeah.
That's how the conversation went.
And
But
I think from my perspective too, there was a standard that the training authority
Yeah.
was known for, right? And I wanted to make sure, and listen, I love the way you deliver. I would wanted to make sure that I was thinking from a place of consistency.
Yes.
So no matter what, wherever we go, there's a certain, when they hear the training authority, whether it's Glenn or Keishel, they know that they're getting a certain style.
Consistency.
Not
quality,
taking away
style.
from your, because
Yeah, the gift
listen,
of
my
teaching.
training, those people love you
Yeah.
and what you bring.
Yeah.
And it's just having that certain style of teaching. Last quick 2 points, growth oriented is how, or excellent mindset is how can I do better? Perfectionism mindset, it's not if it's not perfect, I failed. Same thing we've talked about.
Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, the excellent mindset operates from confidence. The perfectionism mindset operates from fear and anxiety.
Yes, and I'm smiling because again, when you operate in a spirit of excellence and you are confident in what you do, and we talk about knowing yourself, knowing your worth, knowing your value, some people are going to think you're arrogant. Some people are going to think you're self-centered, you're narcissistic. However, if you're operating from excellence, you don't let that be the narrative that drives you.
Yeah,
The narrative that drives you is that, you know what, I know my value, I want to be able to deliver excellence and also to improve for future performance of future situations.
Yeah. So the question is really, which are you chasing? Are you chasing excellence or are you chasing perfection?
Wow.
And again, we want to be able to leave you with tools that it's not just about listening, it's about diving deeper. So if you're interested in diving deeper, we have a tool called the Excellence Scorecard. So we will give you, we talked about 5 different types. We want to give you 10 ways for you to score yourself as to whether or not you are operating in excellence or perfection. And then what are the steps you can take based on the scorecard that you have. If you want that, you will see a link on the screen. You go to that link or a link below. You click on that and you will get that tool. In closing, I think the biggest thing we want to leave you with is the fact that excellence is the standard, but perfectionism is the trap.
And excellence does not mean perfection.
It does not. So you want to choose wisely. So until next time, live, evolve.
Evolve.